Hi, welcome to Four Lakes. We're going to do a walkabout. I'll take you to my house and to the cabin, but right now I'm going to show you the house that I grew up in. I moved to Four Lakes when I was about 10 years old. We had lived in North Spokane, and I had done first, second, third, and fourth grades at Balboa Elementary. Then we moved out to Four Lakes. My parents bought this old house, which used to belong many years ago, in fact 114 years ago, to the first veterinarian to set up his business in this area. I had 4 sisters, and my parents loved horses. So we had horses on this property. In fact, after my parents died and I sold the house to an artist, she put in a sculpture of a horse in the front field. I like that. I set up this house about 30 years ago. I lived here for a few years with my sister, just younger than I am, and then I married Jeff. And Jeff and I have been living here now for 27 years. You have seen many of the trees on my property if you have looked at the earlier videos. But now I'm going to take you inside my house. Here is my front porch, and that is our cat, Sunshine. She adopted us probably 10 years ago, and she lives under the front porch and sleeps on her very own glider. Meow. Here is the reason the cat doesn't live inside the house. Here is my dog, Sunny. Sunny is 10 years old. She's an American Bulldog. She weighs about 115 pounds, and she thinks she's a lap dog. That place where you see her bone on the couch is where Jeff sits and where she lays on top of him. Here is my chair in the living room. On the walls in our house, you will see many things that Jeff has done as an artist. You might have recognized this from our classroom. Here is our kitchen. The view from to the backyard through our dining room windows. A workspace where I am making cards to send to you at the end of the year. My piano that I played as a child and still play now. The guest bathroom, which is now the home for the guinea pig. Hi, Snickers. The room where Jeff and I work out. This is Jeff's level on the machine. My level is a level 2, but I am in good shape. Here are the singing bowls that I have brought to the classroom. And here is my home office where I plan lessons, hold our weekly meetings, and our check-ins. Here is my new computer. And this is what this room looks like. It's my library, and right now It is my classroom storage area, soon to be filled and then hopefully put away. And now the moment you've been waiting for, the secret room. I'm going to hand this camera over to my husband, Jeff.
Okay.
Would you like to go? I don't know if you're familiar with the Addams Family or not, but I watched that show as a child, and they had all kinds of secret places, and one of them was a room that you entered through a swinging door, a swinging wall. This is Jeff's art storage. This is where I come when I need to get anything for a classroom project. As you can see, it's stacked to the ceiling with interesting things to work with. And then we come out again. This is the view of my house. Now let's go out to Jeff's art studio, our cabin. I think I'll go through the back door. Whoop! Sorry, Jeff, I promised not to get him in the picture. As I go out the back door, you'll see some of the plants. You'll notice that my lettuces are now going to seed. Isn't that a pretty flower? Here's our hot tub. This is the pond that Jeff and I and Sonny, who helped break the branches, just set up. Here's one of our resident alligators. Here is the chimenea where we had our camp out class meeting. And this is the maze. We'll go out the back gate and walk down to the cabin. This is where I begin what I fondly call the great lesson of Four Lakes. It begins long ago, maybe over 1 million years ago, when a layer of basalt lava was laid down on this earth. Here is an example of that layer of basalt poking through the little bit of vegetation that has managed to grow around it. This layer of basalt had erupted from a crack in the Earth's crust, about 20 to 30 miles south of here. And it flowed out for hundreds of thousands of years, eventually forming what you can only describe as a mile-thick layer cake of basalt flows. The next thing, I should mention, during that particular time, there was a very warm climate, warm and wet. In fact, almost jungle-like. Ginkgo trees and even rhinoceros lived in this area. In fact, we know this because one of the rhinoceros got trapped into the lava flow. And as it was trapped in the lava flow, its body was preserved and a cast made. If you go to Sun Lakes in the middle of Washington State to Dry Falls, you'll be able to see the cast of that rhino. But then the earth went through a tremendous change. An ice age came, and that ice age formed an ice dam. If you can imagine glaciers a mile deep creeping down from the North Pole and coming almost to touch Spokane. As these glaciers came along, they scraped over the earth and carried it along with them. At one point, all the way into what we now call Montana, one of those glaciers dammed a river. And when that river stopped flowing and backed up behind the ice dam, it deepened and widened and formed what we now call Glacial Lake Missoula. In Glacial Lake Missoula, that water backed up and backed up and backed up until the ice dam floated and cracked. And then the largest flood on geologic record came out of that valley. It poured over Montana and Idaho. It poured through Washington. And as it did, it scraped the earth and carried it away. Not all of the earth was laid bare. In fact, I'm going to show you a hill. Ren had asked me if there was a mountain near where I live since I see bald eagles. Well, this is as close as a mountain we have here. It's called Wright's Hill on the map. It's called Battle Mountain if you grew up in Four Lakes. And I'll tell you that story another time. This particular hill is made out of wind-blown dust called loess. That's spelled L-O-E-S-S and pronounced less. As the glaciers ground over the land just north of here in the earth, it actually created its own weather pattern, and a big wind would blow the dust that was being created by grinding the rocks underneath this giant glacier. And the wind deposited that dust, that loess, on top of the basalt layers. You can see evidence of these wind-blown dunes all over the Palouse. They ended up being really good places to grow wheat. Wheat roots reach far, far into the ground, and this was the perfect place then for dryland farming. Well, when that great flood came, it scraped this huge pile of loess and moved it downstream. In fact, all the way to the Pacific Ocean. And it left behind the geologic features we see today. It left behind an area where the loess had been scrubbed out. We saw the result with the basalt. It left one of the great number of finger lakes that extend down this valley all the way to Walla Walla. We're at the head of one of those lakes gouged out by that flood, and its name is Meadow Lake. The next part of our tour of Four Lakes is going to be the cabin. So, have your snack, Can't eat inside of there. And let's visit Jeff's art studio.